What are you doing? You want to cuddle? I just feel like you should be in the video because you're so pretty. Hey guys, so I know you have missed my mental health videos and my psychology videos. Whenever I ask you guys what you want to see on my channel, like tons and tons of you say psychology and mental health videos, and I've explained in the past why I've kind of stopped or slowed down on them. It's basically because I've kind of reached my limit as to what I can talk about, what I'm qualified to talk about. You know, I'm not licensed, I'm not practicing in the mental health field or anything, so I just feel like there's a certain level of appropriateness that I can talk about, and I only have so many disorders myself, so I don't want to talk about things just for the sake of, you know, talking about them. But I do want to share about this situation because it is the major disorder that I deal with on a yearly basis, and that is seasonal affective disorder. So if you don't know what seasonal affective disorder is, it's basically seasonal depression. It's a mood disorder that occurs around the same time every year. For most people, it occurs in the winter months because of the low levels of sunlight that we get. It throws off our circadian rhythms, our serotonin and melatonin levels, and so this can cause, you know, very low energy and a depressed mood. And I get a lot of questions, well, can it exist in the spring and summer? Like, can you have it in the spring and summer? And the answer is yes, it does occur for some people in those seasons, which then it really doesn't play into the sunlight exposure. I'm not sure what causes it in the spring and summer. I know for me personally, it is caused by a lack of sunlight, and just the winter and family holidays are kind of depressing for me. So I've already made a few videos on my experience with seasonal affective disorder, but I haven't really been that proactive in preventing it and spending time working on my mental health like I have these past 2 winters. I've decided, instead of just being a passenger of this disorder and just a passenger in my brain, I'm gonna really try to be proactive in it. I can't cure it, it's not curable by any means, but there are methods that I can do to help prevent it from getting really bad or making it, you know, more manageable. So as I have been working on this the past 2 winters, I want to tell you the methods that I found that have really helped me with my disorder, my depression in the winter. And some of these tips will apply specifically to seasonal affective disorder, but some of them also can be extended to other depression disorders or mood disorders as well. So the first one can apply to all mood disorders, and I highly recommend it if you suffer with one, and that is to avoid alcohol or limit the amount of alcohol that you drink. This actually took me so long to realize, and this is the first winter where I have not drank alcohol. I have found that it completely amplifies my depressed mood, and it's just never worth it. I actually tweeted back in early November that I was going to be avoiding alcohol for this season because it just always makes me feel a million times worse. I end up crying, and it just ends up being like a whole thing, and I regret it immediately, and it's every single time in the winter. And I've actually extended it to basically my birthday in March. That's kind of where my seasonal affective disorder starts to pick up a little bit because it's my birthday. The day after my birthday is the first day of spring, and so it's usually a really happy time for me, a happy month, so that's when I will allow myself to start really drinking again. Now, I have allowed myself twice in this season to have alcohol, but it's in a very controlled environment, and it's both times have been on family holidays where I've been with Ryan's family. So it's been Thanksgiving and Christmas. I had a couple drinks, and I limit it to just like 2 drinks, 2 glasses of wine, and I have to do it in a controlled situation, and I never drink alone in the winter anyway. When you pair depression and drinking alone, that is not a good pairing, and I have experienced really bad feelings and emotions and very scary feelings to where I wake up the next day, which thank God I do wake up the next day, and I'm like, why do I put myself through this? So it really took me a long time to realize that alcohol can have a huge impact on our moods, and it's really important to avoid it as much as you can. Or know your limits. Like, I knew that I'd be okay if I drank in a controlled situation. However, I did still cry both times, but you know. There are of course other legal substances that you can partake in that people do recommend for depression, and they can help, and you know, they have helped for me in the past, but typically I tend to avoid drugs and alcohol. Most of the time they tend to do more harm than good. So the next thing is I can finally truly recommend a light box and light therapy. I've been doing this more so this month only in January. It was weird. I thought I was gonna skip this year of seasonal affective disorders, to be honest, because I didn't feel it that much all of December because we had so much sunshine. It wasn't raining or anything. I usually still get a little bit of depression in November and December because of the holidays, but I felt pretty good this year, like, or at least at the end of last year. And then January came and I was like, why did I even think we were skipping a year? Like, why would I think that would happen when I've dealt with this for 10 years? So I started using my light box in early January, like pretty much as soon as New Year's happened. And it has been life-changing. It's almost immediate, the effects that I feel. Obviously, that's not gonna happen for everyone. Usually you have to use it for like 2 weeks consistently, 30 minutes a day to really feel the effects, but I kind of feel it immediately. I don't know if it's placebo or what, but basically a light box and light therapy is a 10,000 lux box. I will link the one that I have down below. You sit with it for 30 minutes to an hour is the recommended time period, and it basically mimics the light of the sun, and so it tricks your brain into thinking that it's like daytime. And even in that short period of time, when my neighbors shower, it's really loud, I'm sorry. Even in that short period of time, it can trick your brain into thinking it's the sun. And this just kind of helps reset our circadian rhythm because it, you know, tricks our brain into thinking it's daytime and stuff like that. And also what I do, I'll get back to the light box in a second, is I use my artificial lighting that I have for filming purposes out in the living room. So when the sun sets at 4:30 in the evening, or 5 now, thank God it's going later, I will turn on my fake lights out in the living room because they are white, bright light, and I leave that on until I hit like 8 p.m. and then I'll turn it off and switch to my warmer lights in my house, just like my normal light. This helps me be productive a little bit longer in the day. I'm the kind of person that could easily rise with the sun and set with the sun. Like, I could easily go to bed when the sun sets. I get so tired in the evenings like that, and especially in the winter when the days are so short, like my brain shuts off when the sun goes down. So it's really important for me to have a lot of lighting in the house. So my electricity bill isn't great, but I need it for my mental health. So something that I recommend doing if you do go with the light therapy is to set up a routine with it. I like to drink my coffee and listen to like lo-fi music, or I will listen to nature, river noises. Those help me so much. I have heard that just listening to nature music, or it's not really music, nature noise, does really help your mental health. We are natural beings. We are meant to be in nature, and spending 20 minutes a day in nature if possible would be great, but obviously not everyone has access to that and not everyone can do that or have the time to do that. So I say go into nature when you can. It really does help our brain. Helps me feel at peace anyway, but if we don't have time to do that, I will listen to nature noise. I tend to put it on. I prefer to go to the Calm app. I use that for meditation, not spawns, but they have really great nature noises, and I highly recommend if you have winter seasonal affective disorder and you get it in the winter time to listen to spring, summer nature noise, like no rain, don't do rain. Anytime I hear rain nature noise, it's not peaceful for me. Obviously do what you find peaceful. If you find the rain peaceful, then by all means. I personally, just triggers my depression because it's like reminding me that it's still winter time. So I like to listen to music and river and things like that to where I can picture myself camping. And sometimes when I'm sitting in front of my light, I just close my eyes and picture me at my campsite, and the light is the sun on my face, and I'm just chilling in the summertime. So the next tip I am going to recommend to an extent, because it does involve supplements, and I don't want to recommend that everyone just go out and buy these supplements right now, because obviously you should talk to a doctor. My doctor told me to take these two specifically full-time year-round, so I do, but it also can help in the winter months with seasonal affective disorders. So I take a vitamin D and a B complex every day. Now, if you are vegan or vegetarian, I highly recommend supplementing for B vitamins, because that is something that we can't really get except from animal products. So, but both of those can help specifically with your mood and energy levels in the winter if you have seasonal affective disorder. Now, I don't want to recommend it necessarily for everyone because it's something that you take, and I don't want to, you know. And then the last two things are a little bit more airy-fairy, not so concrete advice, necessarily, and it is something that I've talked about in a few videos ago. I forget which one, but that is 2 mindsets that I practice every single day if I can. And the first one is remembering that everything is temporary, including emotions, including weather. Literally everything we feel, experience is not permanent. Honestly, seasonal affective disorder gets easier as I get older, because as I get older, the years feel shorter. So I feel like the winters feel shorter and shorter every winter that I experience. So I know from experience that the sun is going to come up soon. It's going to be sunny soon. It's going to be springtime, and the winter months and the depression and everything that I feel in the winter is a very short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. If I think about the year as a whole, how much summer I really get because I live in Northern California, and I'm so grateful for that. I should mention also, some people have said that you can't get seasonal affective disorder if you live in California because it's always sunny, right? We have rain, people. We don't have snow where I live, but we got rain. And it's gloomy a lot of the time, especially in January and February. So, but just know that you have survived every single winter or summer. If you get sad in summer, you have survived every single depression season that you have ever experienced. So just remember that. And that goes for depression as well. You have survived every single day that has been bad for you. Every single one, you have survived it. So you are so much stronger than you think that you are. And it will end, like it does every single year. The season will end and it'll be a new season. So the second thing is something that is like a muscle. You really have to work really hard at it, and it's so difficult to do when you're feeling depressed and hopeless, but it is honestly one of the most active things that you can do for your mental health, and that is to practice gratitude. Now I know this kind of falls in with like meditation and drinking water, like we hear it all the time. This is the first kind of like year total, like the past year, that I've been really working on this and trying really hard. I am not at daily yet. I really want to do daily gratitude journals and things. I heard a quote the other day and I forgot who said it, but it was, the harder gratitude is to practice for you, the more that you need it. So it does get easier the more you practice at it, and the more you know, recognize things that you're grateful for, and not just things that you're grateful for, but why you're grateful for them, why they impact you, and why you are grateful. It's really that why that is important, because you can't just write down vague things and then experience the effects of feeling gratitude. You really have to be specific in what you're grateful for, and then the reasoning why, instead of just saying I'm grateful for my eyeballs so I can see, which it's okay to actually start there. If that is all you can feel grateful for in that moment, then by all means write it down. But as you practice, try to find more specific things and smaller things, because we can all find gratitude in the housing that we have and the food and things like that, and those are great to feel grateful for and to write down, because that's always where we tend to start when we're practicing gratitude. But as you get on, if you try not to repeat yourself, you have to find smaller things, and that I think is truly where the effects happen. So all of this can be summed up in a little morning routine that I've made for myself that I try to do as much as I can. It's not a daily morning routine for me by any means, not only for time wise, but just it's, you know, it's hard. It's not easy to be proactive in your mental health. And I absolutely have days where I don't want to do them. I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to practice gratitude. Like, there are absolutely those days, and those are okay, because you're gonna have those. It's about feeling compassionate and kind towards yourself like you would a friend. You wouldn't shame a friend for not going on their daily walk or whatever. Just feel that same compassion that you would for someone else, for yourself. So those are kind of my top practical tips for how I personally deal with seasonal affective disorder every year. I'd love to hear your tips down below. If not for seasonal affective disorder, then for mood disorders in general, or anything really. Leave your best mental health tips down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.